What's up, you What's up, you beautiful people? Happy Monday. And I cannot speak today. Apparently, I am used up all my words for the day. That's a problem considering I'm about to do a half an hour show. Anyways, welcome to the Daily Dirty 30 here on the Kevin Lee Show. For those of you who do not know, first off, shame on you, but I'll let it slide this time. The Daily Dirty 30, what it is, very simply put, is that you get to watch me spend 30 minutes of my time and your time, for that matter, complaining about the things that most bothered me today. Well, not always complaining. Sometimes I'm just telling you about them. Sometimes it's not so much complaining, you know. But today it's going to be a little bit of complaining on that note. So let's not waste any of our time, shall we? First thing I'm going to bring up now, okay, first starters, let me just revamp a few, or not revamp, but jump back to a couple different things I mentioned on Friday. So first off, as if you may or may not know, I do have a brand new website called thekevinleeshow.com. Pardon me, I forgot to silence my watch. Lift my phone upstairs, but I didn't silence my watch. I apologize. Anyways, so I have a brand new website called the Kevin Lee Show, or the Kevin Lee Show. What is the proper usage? I don't know. thekevinleeshow.com. Just thekevinleeshow.com. On there, you're going to find links to everything. You're going to find links to all the podcasts, all the videos and audio sources. You're going to find merch on there. You can find places to give or donate or support in any way that you'd like. There's going to be everything that you want to know about the Kevin Lee Show, or the Daily Dirty 30, or my other podcast, the Libertarian Hour, or my other podcasts, whatever with Kevin. Anything you want to find about those things, you can find them right there. So just so you know. Also, you'll notice that behind me, I have a green screen, and that's really all I have is a green screen. The reason for that being is that I was having some, again, technical difficulties, as I still am. I kind of hear like a little hum from my microphone or my earphones. I'm not sure if it's my earphones or my preamp, or I don't know. Anyways, but so I'm trying to eliminate everything I can out of it for the next few days. I actually ordered a nice little banner that'll go behind me. It'll be a simple little banner, but it'll make things easier, and I won't have to use green screens. That being said, yeah, I think that's, also we talked about I'm going to be doing some more themed shows. So every week on Tuesdays, we're going to do Twitter Tuesdays, and every Friday, we're going to do Facebook Fridays. Pretty straightforward. Anyways, how many times can I say anyways? That's so bad. I apologize. Bad on me. Bad Kevin. First thing we're going to jump right into is something that actually has to do with Twitter, but we'll have plenty of other things for Twitter tomorrow. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this happened on July 10th, which was Friday, right? Friday. And but I didn't even really see it until Friday night or Saturday or whatever it was. But apparently, some of you may know, because I have a show called the Libertarian Hour, that I'm actually a libertarian, and that we are in an election cycle. So, of course, as a libertarian, I am investigating and planning on supporting my candidate for the Libertarian Party, who this election is Jo Jorgensen, with her running mate as vice president is Spike Cohen. Anyways, I have a lot of good things to say about both these people. I think they bring a lot of good things to the table. That being said, they are not perfect. And I'm going to bring up an example right now of Jo Jorgensen not being perfect. So let's jump right over to it. Okay, so as you can see, I on the screen have put up a tweet that she placed on Friday around noon. So this tweet simply says, "It is not enough to be passively not racist. We must be actively anti-racist." Now, here's a little disclaimer in case some of you who are watching this or hearing this may not be aware of libertarianism. Libertarianism is a very simple principle of freedom. Literally, it's in our name. And essentially, what most libertarians want is just to be left alone. Let me do whatever it is I want with myself and my body and my property. I'll let you do whatever you want with yourself, your body, and your property. And as long as my rights aren't being interfered with by you, or your rights aren't being interfered with me, we should all be good. That's essentially what libertarianism is, in a very small general nutshell. Well, a lot of people who are or consider themselves to be libertarian obviously follow Jo Jorgensen because she is the candidate, and follow her Twitter. And after seeing this, well, let's just say there was a number of people who weren't happy. Again, if you're not a libertarian, you're probably looking at this and it says something, it is not enough to be passively not racist. We must be actively anti-racist. What's the big deal? Black Lives Matter, because you know what? Who can disagree with the sentiment that Black Lives Matter? Because they do. And of course, vote gold. So, the reason why people were getting so upset in this very short and generalized tweet is because it was very short and seemed to give credence to the Black Lives Matter organization. At least that's the way a lot of libertarians took it. I sort of took it that way, but I sort of didn't. I didn't necessarily believe that's what she was trying to get to, but because it was such a limited tweet, and you know, there's no reason that you can't ever give bare bones tweets, but sometimes when you do that, nuances get lost because you can assume something or assume that everyone's going to believe something or view something one way when they're not going to. And that's kind of on you then, right? So on here, when it says there's not enough to be passively, well, there's another thing that, okay, so let me explain to you very quickly why people got so upset. First off, to say it is not necessary to be passively not racist, we must be actively anti-racist, is essentially that is verbiage directly rooted to the Black Lives Matter organization. Now, a lot of people who are libertarians do not like the Black Lives Matters organization because of who founded it and what they believe and what they espouse. And if you go on their website, I've been to it before. You can check last week. It talks very much about how they're, they have Marxist beliefs. They believe in dismantling the nuclear family. They believe in all these things that really have nothing to do with Black Lives Matters, generally speaking. So a lot of people, see this and they get upset about that. Plus, there's a phrase in here where it says, we must be actively anti-racist. Now, I can't speak for Joe Jorgensen. I wouldn't plan on doing so or an attempt on doing so, but I believe when she said we must be actively anti-racist, I don't think she was giving us marching orders and said you must or we must, every one of us must be this way. I think she was saying like we must be actively anti-racist. I think she was trying to be positive, but it didn't come across that way because if you understand libertarians, they don't like being told what to do. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to. If I want to, I will, but don't tell me what to do. I'm not doing anything to actively harm you or prevent you from utilizing your rights. Leave me alone, like I said earlier. So because of this, seeing the we must upset quite a few people, ruffled a few feathers. I mean, literally thousands of people got angry. I had simply gone on there, and I think I had mentioned something to someone about how, I believe, when someone said, well, obviously she wasn't supporting the organization, she was supporting the movement. Well, there's nothing in this tweet that says that. And I said if that's what she wanted to say, then she should have said that without leaving any ambiguity into it. Again, she also uses Black Lives Matter, hashtag with the fists. Some people took it that way. And again, I understand why people take it that way because it is easy to take it that way when that's all you see on the screen, right? You're using verbiage directly rooted and taken from an organization that is called Black Lives Matter. It says Black Lives Matter on here. So you're going to think that you're taking their side or jumping ship. And who knows? Let's play devil's advocate a little bit here. Let's say Jo Jorgensen and her team or whoever, actually did this tweet. I'm not sure if she does it herself or if she has an assistant that does it, but perhaps maybe they saw this as an opportunity to kind of reach out to more of the fringe elements of other groups like the Black Lives Matter group. Or, any maybe disassociated liberals who kind of feel homeless right now. Maybe she could put something out there, a little feeler, and see like, oh, what's this? Maybe, and maybe she thought she could kind of sneak this in without any of her followers noticing. That could be what happened as well. And I believe there are actually a number of libertarians who believe that is the case. And maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not her team. I'm not going to make claims that I can't make. That would be irresponsible. But again, everything taken just on the face value of this tweet is why so many people were upset. That being said, okay, good. I got plenty of time. That being said, to her credit, she went ahead and, I think it was the same day. It was about 5 hours later. She decided to clarify her tweet because so many people were upset, right? And we actually have that right here. So again, this is about 5 hours later. She tweeted, "Black Lives Matter means standing in solidarity with a mourning black community as we fight together to end qualified immunity, police brutality, sentencing disparities, and the war on drugs, not to support any organization by that name." So regardless of how you felt about that first tweet, being a libertarian or non-libertarian or whoever you are, she's clearly stated now that she is not throwing her support for any organization by that name. I still feel there's a number of people who are libertarians who don't take that for what it is. I personally do. There is a social commentator, political commentator, whatever you want to call him, pundit. Not really a pundit. You know who he is, but his name is Scott Adams. He is he's a cartoonist, and well, he's an entrepreneur. He does all these things. It's not just a cartoon. He's the man who invented Dilbert. You probably heard of it if you ever picked up a newspaper in the last 20 years, 30 years. But that being said, I don't agree with most of the things, and actually I don't even watch him anymore. But for a short while I did, and there's this rule that he used to state that I actually agree with very much. He gives people essentially 48 hours to clarify or correct something they said. Because let's face it, you as a person say things you don't necessarily mean, right? You say things that maybe made sense at the time, or maybe even you missaid things, or things were construed in such a way where, your true feelings or your true point was getting either lost or confused in the message. That being said, he states that you should have 48 hours to clear the air, to correct yourself, to take something back, whatever it might be. And I agree with that. 48 hours is enough time, right? And she did it within 5 hours. And she didn't necessarily take anything back, but she clarified. Black Lives Matter means standing in solidarity with a mourning black community as we fight together to end qualified immunity, police brutality, sentencing disparities, and the war on drugs, not to support any organization by that name. And I think the reason why it just didn't necessarily pacify everyone as much as, let's say, they had kind of wished it was going to or hoped it had, is because, again, she chose to use a term in the original tweet. Actually, I'll just bring it right back. Tell you what. When she used the original verbiage here, she wrote that we must be actively anti-racist. And again, many, at least old school libertarians, will tell you that probably upset them the most out of anything, which again, I completely understand. It didn't upset me as much. Maybe it's because I'm a newer libertarian, maybe because I'm a little bit younger than some of these people, maybe because I haven't been in the movement of libertarianism as long as they have. I'm not as sensitive in certain areas, or I'm not as entrenched in certain areas and beliefs. I understand how important it is to have your individual rights and your individualism. It's hugely important in the libertarian movement. But again, I don't think she meant necessarily it's an order. Like she's going to become president and snap her fingers and say, hey, you must do this. I think she's saying, hey, we have an opportunity here to take the higher road, to build some allies, and maybe even win some people over to our side. So let's take it. I think that's what she meant. Right? So, again, this is a Twitter topic, but don't worry, I'll have plenty of them for you tomorrow. That being said, since we're on politics, let's just talk about politics for the last 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I mean, Christ, there's tons of things we could talk about. For instance, our three candidates. We have Jo Jorgensen. We have... Sorry. We have President Trump. People who love Trump, and hey, and I'm more power to them. I'm not picking on those people in any way, shape, or form. I think if that's your guy and you love him and you are proud of the work he's done and you're proud that he's your president, that's awesome. I think he's done a lot of good things. Or I don't know if I say a lot. He's attempted to do a lot of good things, I think. That being said, he's also kind of a populist where he wants to appease people that he thinks are his supporters. So if they were to say anything, I think he would do it. That being said, it's not like he's a lifelong politician either. You know what I mean? He's just sitting there trying to ride the wave and figure out what to do. And he's trying, like I said, he's attempted to do many, many things. And to his credit, he got elected on a platform. He got elected claiming he was going to do this, this, and this. And he tried to do either did or tried to do this, and this. So, from that aspect, I can understand why his supporters are happy to be, why they are happy to be his supporters. Then we have Joe Biden. Oh, Uncle Joe. And I mean that. Like, literally, when I was younger, because I'm old enough to know when Uncle Joe wasn't just the VP, when he was a senator for years and years. and years and all the gaffes that he had. I remember him running for president hardcore back in, oh, I want to say it was 88. I think it was 88. I wasn't hugely into politics then, but I remember him running, and I remember him having a couple of issues like plagiarism. Lots of plagiarism. But you know, who knows? Maybe at the time, you know, this is pre-internet, pre-Google, so it's not like it was commonplace for people to be able to go and, you know, look up these things, right? So I don't blame him for doing certain things that he did. I mean, maybe he was taking the easy way out. Seems like. But sorry, this microphone's bugging me. It's bugging me, man. 1 second. There we go. Is that better? That's better. Better. Okay, so anyways, where was I? It's still bothering me. What the hell? Joe Biden has come to a point in his life where his best days are behind him. I think that's a fair way to put it, right? Not in a bad way. Just some people get to a certain age where, you know, things don't function as well as they once did, right? Like, not everyone is going to be running 100 miles an hour their whole life until they reach the finish line, are they? I don't think so. I know I probably won't be. I know most people in my life weren't. I know how my mom was at the end. I know how my brother was at the end. I've known how my grandfather was. I've known how other people's parents and grandparents who have passed on, I saw them at the end, or it was even there at the end. Not the same as you are. You know, you start hitting a decline. Joe has seemingly hit that decline. And he's taking a few steps down, maybe even a few more. And I don't know, it could be it could be the pressure, it could be just his, I don't want to pass judgment on the guy because, you know, who knows what the real full reason is for everything. Maybe he's just tired. Maybe he is doing the work and putting in the effort, even though he's sitting at home most of the time and not traveling and not necessarily, you know, going to rallies and meeting people. But maybe the work he is doing is exhausting to him, and that's why he has so many struggles as he does. You know, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but that being said, I really don't see him in a debate against Trump. Not that he couldn't debate even in his current state, but it may not turn out well for him. I mean, he might get lucky, and the moderators might manipulate the situation well enough where he doesn't get completely trounced by Trump. But you know, Trump is just going to start yelling and screaming at some point, and that's going to push a button on Biden, and it's going to push him over the edge or do whatever. And you're going to see him react in a way that it's not going to be good for him in his campaign. You know, I think, you know, and I hear all these things about all the polls about how far ahead Biden is from Trump. I mean, really? I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I have no plans for voting for him now in 2020. That being said, of all the people I know who are not far left, but liberal Democrats, we call them committed Democrats, card-carrying Democrats, I would say about a third of them, at least a third of them, have come to me in confidence and said, hey, you know, I'm not voting for Biden. I just can't do it because I'm not going to put my country in that type of peril because Biden is just too far gone. Now, I know other Democrats who kind of feel that way and are saying, well, you know, I feel that whoever they put in as vice president, as long as they're a solid person, I have absolutely no problem voting for Biden, which I get because really, I mean, essentially at that point, we're no longer, or whoever is no longer voting for Biden. You're voting for the VP candidate because that's who's more than likely going to take over sooner rather than later. So the VP candidate is very important. That's also another reason why they haven't announced a VP candidate for Biden. I mean, we're already halfway through July. So we got what, August, September, October. So just over 3.5 months, give or take, to the election, something like that. Not a whole heck of a long time. And normally you would have a candidate out there because they'd be campaigning and they would be willing to have debates and conversations and try to build up your base and build up, you know, bring people to your side. You know, that's why you typically go out by June at the latest. But of course, they know the sooner they put someone out there and they put a face and a name, people can then start investigating that person and that name and find out what mistakes they made back in college or in high school or whatever it might be. And people are not going to be kind to them, especially people who are supporting Trump or people who are not even necessarily supporting Trump, but just want the truth. I mean, there are people out there like myself, like right now, again, President Trump is the president. I think he's done an all right job. I'm not here ready to kick him out. I'm not ready here to impeach him or remove him from office in any way, shape, or form. And if he gets reelected again in 2020 or 2020 in November, or in 2020, how could I forget? In November, then guess what? I'm gonna keep rooting for him to do the best. I'm gonna hope that he's going to make the proper decisions to create more freedom and remove more, tyranny from the government and shrink government and do everything that I want him to do. Now, is he going to do what I want to do necessarily? Probably not, because guess what? He's not a libertarian. But if he gets reelected, I hope for the best. And if Biden somehow gets in, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best and hope that he did pick a good VP. Now, who knows if he will and who knows if when that might occur, but cross that bridge, I guess, when we come to it. Now, something else I want to talk about very briefly, since we're on politics, is local politics. Everyone forgets that almost let's put it this way, an overwhelming majority of people vote for, once every 4 years, say, right? Because the presidency. There's major elections every 2 years, but not everyone joins in every 2 years. But they should be, because we have local politics. You have people on ballots for your city, for the county, for the state, every time there's an election. Sometimes it could be almost every year in certain areas, depending on what state you're in. And it's important that you get involved in politics. It's important that you learn about candidates, even regardless. I'm a libertarian. Now, there's no libertarians running in my area, but I still need to vote for people, right? So I'm still going to investigate who the candidates are, and I'm going to actually vote for the best candidate. That is, if there's more than one person running. Unfortunately, I live in a very blue state, which is not healthy for politics, because when there's no competition, there's no competition, and you know which way things are going to turn. In fact, many areas where I live, for city councils and mayors and the like, there's usually only one person running. It's usually a Democrat. Who else are you going to vote for? No, you don't have to vote for them, but they're going to win. If you run uncontested, you are going to win, even if you get one vote. It's just the way the system works. So I implore you to go ahead and get a ballot or go to, I'll post it either on Twitter or here, or next time I'm on here tomorrow, I will mention something about it. Just put up quick links for people to see. I can't remember if it's from Ballotpedia. I think it's from Ballotpedia, but you can put in your local area and it'll tell you exactly who's on the tickets and their stances and what they run for and what have you. But again, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure who it is, but I will either tweet it out or I will put it on my website or I will put it on here, or all of the above. Probably all of the above. More the merrier, right? But that's something else. Now, I know there's a lot of people who aren't necessarily going to see this at this very moment, who might watch this on replay later or tomorrow or the next day. And they know that they've got a lot of good ideas that might be able to help out their local area. And I want to encourage you, regardless if you're left-leaning, right-leaning, walking right down the center, whatever it might be, maybe even if you're apolitical and you don't even care about politics, maybe you should think about getting involved in politics. Not because it's something fun to do, but because we need fresh ideas. And to get fresh ideas, we need fresh people in there. And you might actually have a few. I'm not saying you should spend the rest of your life in politics, but if you get involved in, say, your local city government, your village, find out what's open for running, see if anything interests you, see if you have any good ideas. Or maybe if you don't, maybe you know someone who does. Maybe we can get new people in there. I'm not saying we need to vote out everybody, but sometimes it's not a bad idea, or at least vote in some new people, get some new ideas. For example, make this very brief because I'm running out of time. But people like AOC. Now, before you start jumping down my throat and getting all angry, listen. Love her or hate her, she's different. And she creates conversation. Let's put it that way. She creates conversation. And that's a good thing. She might come off with some area that some people are going to think is going to be completely out of left field and just oddball and stupid and silly. And there are going to be some people who also support it as well. And that's not right or wrong. It just is what it is for them. For those people, if they believe that stuff and they support it and they believe in socialism or whatever it might be, and that's them. but it creates dialogue. It creates conversation, causing people to have to talk about these things. And that's not a bad thing. Now, it would be a bad thing, I think, if she actually got her ideas through. Yes. And then it's always a danger. If you start influencing people or bringing things into a conversation, people might turn and say, hey, you know what? I don't know about that. And that sounds like a crazy idea, but we've been trying it this way for the last, 50 years, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. Maybe we should try it a different way. And there's always that possibility. But at least we can have the conversation and become more knowledgeable and test our boundaries, or maybe even just knowing that these other ideas are out there will make you more founded in your own beliefs. It'll give you a better base to work from because you understand, yes, this is the truth. What I believe is the truth. I think this is going to help more people. And that's how I've kind of fallen into libertarianism. And I encourage you to, like anything, try different things, right? We do this with children. We tell them, hey, when you're a kid, try different foods. See if you like this. See if you don't like it. And then revisit some of those foods a few years later. Same thing with spirituality. If we say, hey, you know what? Why don't you read a Bible, but then also read the Torah and read the Quran and then read, a Hindu book and whatever to kind of get an idea of what everyone thinks and believes. Don't just read one. Now, one of them might speak to you, and that's the one you should probably be reading the most, but read them all. Same thing with politics. Don't just look, if you decided, hey, I'm a liberal because of, we believe this one thing or we believe these two topics and that's why I'm there. Well, chances are you may actually not be a liberal. You might just agree with one or two topics, and you might actually, if you read all the platforms for all the different parties, you might realize like, oh, I'm either a little from column A, a little from column B, and a little from column C, or I thought I was from column A, but really I'm 80% column C. I should probably investigate that. And that's kind of what happened to me. I've been up in the air for quite a while, quite a number of years now, deciding what I like and don't like about politics. And, I know a lot of people out there who are apolitical, like, I'm not going to waste my time with politics. And I used to have that mentality too, but then I realized two things. One, politics runs almost everything. Every aspect of your life is decided by politics. Look what we're going through right now with coronavirus. Everyone's mad what's going on, but guess what? It's our elected officials who are making the decisions that are affecting every single aspect of our lives. Even if we can work or how we work or where we can go or how we have to go out or do we have to wear a mask? Do we have to, be inside at a certain time? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we meet with people? Can we play sports? All this is decided about politics. So politics is very important, first off. Second off, I believe in politics, getting involved in politics, because as a libertarian, our ultimate goal, at least as far as I see it, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I see it as a libertarian, and this is my truth as a libertarian, is that I believe the goal of libertarian is to take over so much of the government, to make the proper changes that one day it won't matter who gets elected in these major positions as, governors and mayors and president, because politics won't affect our lives that much because we'll have the government so removed from us, it really just won't matter. But anyways, I think we're going to end on that point. So it's been real. It's been fun. It's been Monday. It's been the Daily Dirty 30. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Have a good night.